break news a bit?
He looks good, doesn't he? Noah looks good too. Noah's better. Noah's less bushy. So I'm happy for those guys. High and tight, man. High and tight. It's the way to go.
Is university mandated?
No, it's just like when you're high and tight, the sweat just like rolls right down onto your face. It feels so much better.
Do you feel like the team has put Saturday night behind them?
This is too complicated for me. I don't know. I'm sure not. I hope it doesn't go totally behind us because, like, this has a purpose for us. We talked about it before the season. We all knew what we were walking into, and I think we all just feel desperate to grow, and these guys grew on Saturday for sure. Like, they grew. I think. My most frustrating moment so far this season has been San Francisco, and we've lost other games, but that was a game where I felt like we didn't grow. I felt like we regressed, and so that's I think, I don't know if they've put it behind them. I don't know if I want to put them behind them. I wish they could. I wish we could all swallow the emotion of it, but it's we got punched up pretty good, and so. I hope it fuels us.
Coach, putting aside all the wins and losses for a second, like what impresses you the most about how this team has come together and just grown over the last couple of weeks, especially even with those two tough home losses to Gonzaga and St. Mary's?
Yeah, I mean, I think what impressed me the most is their commitment to getting better. Right? It's hard. It's hard when things aren't going well, and and it's easy to get discouraged. And these guys have refused to get discouraged, right? They refuse to get discouraged, and that's actually super key. There's going to be a huge payoff. I mean, we're going to get massive payoff for their refusal to get discouraged and their commitment to keep getting better. So, I'm really proud of them for that, because that's not easy to do. It's it can go a lot of different ways, and I think most times it doesn't go that way, but these guys are taking it that way.
Coach, of all the things that you feel are correctable right now, is there one issue that maybe once you guys correct that, it'll snowball into all the other ones that kind of make it easier?
Well, I wish there was one, right? But I understand your question. When we've protected the ball, we've been able to kind of at least stay alive in games. A lot due to our defense. I mean, this team has been like ridiculously special defensively, and numerically we're in the top 30 in the country, like analytically, but for us to be that successful with all the frustration that we're enduring on the other side of the ball, usually that sucks away your defensive will at times. And with some exceptions, the Bay Area trip was not good for us defensively, but with those was exceptions notwithstanding, these guys have been super committed to staying hungry on that side of the ball. And so when we protect the ball, it gives us a much better chance. We've shot the ball a little bit better in conference, and I still think this team has a huge upside shooting the ball. It's just there's so many little pieces come together, and just like the some basic basketball concepts that were just like you can see us just starting to like understand some just basic things about the game on the offensive end of the floor and just to implement it. But I mean, that's clearly been, I think we're barely in the top 200 in terms of our offensive efficiency right now for all of those reasons. Turning the ball over net, making shots, and those are a result of us, just having such a steep learning curve. So, you could take your pick, but those are probably the most glaring ones.
Well, I didn't see Foose out there at practice. What's his status?
I'm not sure. So he got dinged up in practice yesterday. So we'll see how he goes. I wanted to just give you guys the Jim Boeheim personal day, but I didn't know if anybody saw those clips last night.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if it would have sold in this room. So Coach got a little salty last night, which he can do because he's won 9 billion games. So.
Are Noah, Tiki, and Jackson good to go now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
holdover this year?
No, they're all of us are works in progress, right? But we need those guys to, they've been super competitive, and I think they're fighting to deal with things in the best way possible, and so they're good to go.
Your second crack at LMU, obviously. What can you take from the last time you faced them down there in LA? Would they come here?
Well, they're playing even better. I mean, they're St. Mary's is the best team in our league right now, and LMU's the hottest team in our league. And this Shelton is he's probably the best point guard in the league right now. I mean, looking at his numbers, it's hard to deny. He handles every defensive action, every ball screen, every pin down, every cut. He handles it all by himself. He's a problem there, and then he's averaging 20 a game, and he's shooting a ridiculous percentage around the rim, and he gets downhill for his guys. He's just really special, and he's been through it. As you think about it, this is a super senior that's been through it, and he's a veteran guy, and he's just playing great basketball. So I think, and obviously at every position they're super experienced, but he is stirring this drink in a really masterful way right now. So we're super, alert to him. That they spend a lot of time. They'll quick show and they'll blitz some stuff and they'll exert some pressure. But really, what they're doing is kind of letting the big fella just roam around in the paint. And they're. I think you guys look it up. I think they're number 6 in the country in terms of average length of possession defensively, and that's very much attributed to their defensive scheme where they're going to let you try and find your way downhill, but the big fella's going to be waiting for you at the free throw line, and so you kind of have this little window of open shots. A lot of people are settling for them, and there's not a lot of payoff there. And so they're tricking teams into, they're not a turnover team. They're not forcing turnovers. They're just tricking teams into taking the first available kind of low quality shot, and they're doing a great job at that with everybody. So we got to find ways to score against this team.
Coach, I think being in the game as a fan, I've noticed that, especially against Gonzaga, against St. Mary's, you guys play with a little bit of an extra edge, a little bit of an extra motivation. And you guys, of course, have LMU coming in. They're in 3rd place now in the conference. Yeah. Is there any, do you feel like there's some, extra motivation for a little bit of a payback of what they did to you guys in Los Angeles?
I think our guys are super hungry every time they step on the court. I think it's fun to play at home. Cougar Nation has been unbelievably supportive of these guys, and the gym has been pretty special, and so it's always an advantage to play in the Marriott Center for sure. But I think the guys they're just hungry to get better, and I think they come every night, trying to get themselves ready to have their most fight.
Coach, as a competitor, how much does it wear on you that you guys at this point of the league season are under 500?
Yeah, it's I've spent not so much time this year looking at numbers just because it's kind of what you do when you're in the hunt, right? When you're really there. Over the last 3 years, we've lived and died by every national statistic and prognostication and everything. Right now, I think we feel super overwhelmed with just this job of trying to get better. I mean, you count the guys that were, in and out of my office today before practice. I mean, starting from early this morning all day long, is just this, in terms of reviewing film one-on-one and talking about individual games and talking about, trying to lift up guys' hearts and spirits. And so I think that is swallowed all of our oxygen right now. So, none of us are we're just super hungry to get better, and that's kind of consuming us. And that's what you do when you're trying to build, right? When you're trying to build is you really, any energy wasted on thinking about other stuff or ruminating about other stuff or feeling sorry for yourself about other stuff, it really is generally wasted energy. With the job we have in front of us, we try and stay super disciplined and not waste any of that energy, because it's really what it is. We don't have the spare time.
maybe this is just specific to St. Mary's, but it seemed like there were a lot of drives that you guys had, the ball was stripped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know that was another game, I don't remember
Yeah.
which game it was, but
Yeah.
it was here.
Yeah.
Might have been Senate, not something. Anyway, how do you combat that when, especially in a game where it looked like the officials were letting it go both ways?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
any chance to swipe.
Well, St. Mary's is number 6 defense in the country for a reason, right? They're really good at that. But I mean, if you want to talk basketball specifics, there's a couple things. You know, we were so with a team that is going to be what we call a black ball screen defense all the time. So they're going to force you to come off the screen. You're always trying to extend the width of the floor. And so anytime that you end up with a ball screen or an action that's kind of getting you downhill where you're in the middle of the floor, it's way harder unless you've totally emptied out that side, which kind of eliminates roll or snap or all those kind of other feels, right? And so, you know, early in the game and late in the game, we actually had a problem getting stripped. For the vast majority, for the middle 32 minutes, 34 minutes of the game, I thought our guys were super disciplined about using the width of the floor. And so what happens is you give yourself more space before you get to the gap guys, right? But you saw Spence, it's an Aussie action that we run. You know, he had just banged the 3, and so we went right back to him. But instead of kind of getting to the left lane line to buy himself the extra 4 feet, he stopped at the midline and kind of came off and ran into 2 gap hands. I think it was Dukas that actually got a hand on the ball in the gap. One is we weren't deep corner and we weren't interchanging, which is super important for us to occupy the gap. But 2 is we just didn't use the width of the floor. And then Dallin had exactly the same issue on a pitch wildcat where we had been so successful about being really wide. Logan denied him, so he kind of came to the middle to get the catch, and we ended up running the gap hands too. So 1 is using with the floor. 2 is as we turn the corner, like being a contact creator, because that's the other way that you create width away from the gap. And then the third one we talked about a little bit is kind of getting some motion on the weak side where you're occupying bodies, and we're getting so much better. Actually, and to function the way these guys functioned against St. Mary's, I thought was super spectacular. It was just in the start of the game and the guts of the game, you know, you get distracted. Like, there's so much. And we didn't execute those possessions great down the stretch, and we'll get better. You know, we'll keep getting better.
We'll listen to that later, too.
Yeah, no, but like it's I mean, that's exactly how we talk to our guys. That's exactly what we talk about, and then they can see on film about where they're occupying space and where they're occupying movement, and like that's you know, that's the game, right? It's how we play.
Richie, Trey traded even more minutes because of circumstance. Did any of them do anything in the St. Mary's game that maybe makes you want to play them some more minutes in this back half of conference?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Trey is given us really good minutes this year. Like, he's found his spots where he's really helped us, and he certainly did in this game. And all his analytical numbers were really, really good. And he's got he's gonna have a terrific career here. And so I was really proud of him, you know, seizing the opportunity. And then I was really proud of TC for his first look at high level competition in a frenzied gym, kind of in a dramatic circumstances. I thought he was really good. He actually, I thought in some ways he was, better at dealing with 11. What is 11's name? Big fella. Better dealing with Saxon in the post, a little bit better than our other guys at some points of the game. I thought he was really physical. I thought he used his hands. I thought he was really intelligent. I was really proud of his communication on the defensive end. And then, he's got a unique skill set to put him at the 5 on the offensive end. He can actually help us with some flow, and he can actually make some passes that are uncommon for bigs to be able to make. And so, yeah, we might need those guys to keep playing. We got a bunch of guys that are dealing with stuff, but I was really proud of those guys for, doing the best they could to step up the challenge. I think they helped us.
Last question. Or was that last question?
I guess I just asked this. So Trey, kind of indicative of the rest of the team's shooting numbers.
Yeah.
Have been great.
Yeah.
What can you do in season to help fix that, or is that something you have to just work on in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was like an easy answer. I think it's probably different for everybody. I thought Trey's most spectacular. And Trey is, it's, we can sit in a room and like give words to certain skills to guys, but it's like, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's like my daughters happen to be perfect. They never make a mistake. But it's like talking to your girls about, not procrastinating their homework or being on time on curfew, right? And you can say the words, but then there's actually a learning curve to implementing them, and then there's a learning curve to implementing with the whole world watching, and then enduring the pressure of when things didn't go good last time, and now I got to get over all that. And so that's just the process that listen, we're just you look on the floor and we just are young. Like, we got 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores, and they're playing huge minutes, and it just like, we have to give these guys the grace of time to figure this out. And Trey is 100% in that category. We've been talking to him about the difference, and it's a nuanced conversation, but the difference between jumping off 2 feet and playing off 2 feet. And he had this spectacular drive to the left side where he came to 2 feet and just pivoted and made a nice little hook. And it was really beautiful and super forceful and super aggressive. And like, he knows that and he can do that, but like, you're thinking about so much else as you're trying to read the tag and read rotations and feel a body and see if you've got a corner, and all that's going through your mind at the same time. And so that's why he doesn't do that every time, because there's a lot of other stuff. But all kind of things. Of course, he's actually shot the ball unbelievably well in our training camp, and then normally with shooting, you just keep working on it and keep focusing on other things, right? And so he's growing in other areas right now. He's not quite far enough where they can carry the day for him. Jax didn't shoot the ball well early in the season, and he shot it much better over the last 15 games, but he had a lot of other stuff that he was comfortable bringing to the table that kind of sustained him through through the stretch where he wasn't shooting it well. And that's what you try and do as a player, is kind of build up all those things, and then especially keep faith in yourself and keep faith that you're going to make shots. Super great for you guys. Thanks for being here. Okay, have a great day.